Hello, how are you doing, ladies and gentlemen? I hope y'all are having a very wonderful day today. The reason why I'm looking over there, I live in an apartment in Beeville, Texas, and we have a mouse in my apartment, and I am scared to death of mice. And I have a secondary YouTube channel separated from my business channel. That's why you see me secondary on this channel. I'm going to try to bring you some stimulus news and news what's going on in the world or in my state, or if I can bring you any news today. And my name is Tambourine K. Campos, and I am from Beeville, Texas. Where are you from? And this channel here is new, so if you hop on, please say hi and please say where you're from. I already said where I am from, and if you hear my dog barking, her name is Bella, and that is where she is. She is right here, and she also is on my other channel as well. I have to keep my two channels separated from my business channel. That's why you see me over here. And I hope that y'all are having a safe and wonderful day as well. Hopefully, that mouse does not come towards me. And if you please hit that like button and please subscribe to my channel so that way my channel could grow and I could hop on my phone and use my laptop for bigger things to come so I could, subscribe. And I'm going to read from my phone here. If you can see my phone, no, you can't because the laptop shows lighter than I can, so you cannot see my phone. So I'm going to read the news from my phone. And if anything comes up, we are going to do this. Okay, so first I found this, and it says Texas police reform bill signed into law by Governor Abbott. So I'm going to click this. That way y'all know I'm not lying to y'all. It says Texas police reform bill signed into law by Governor Abbott. And it says Dallas Governor Greg Abbott signed a handful of bills into law on Monday, including a measure that will bring reform to police practices in Texas. The legislation becoming a law improved training, makes some police practices illegal, and increase hiring transparency. Okay, and it brings all police professions across the states of Texas up to the same level. And Mike Mata, president Dallas Police Association, the police reform legislation was praised by police association and all those who've held police accountable. I think this is a huge step in the right direction, said Russell Wilson, lawyer and former prosecutor. State Representative Ed Thompson wrote House Bill 37112, which brings uniformity to Texas policing. The measure raises training standards and creates a model curriculum for officers who trains recruits. It also bans chokeholds. I cannot pronounce that one, artery and neck restraints. Additionally, it requires the release of termination and discipline records when officers apply at another department across the state or nation. What we will call the gypsy officer, the officer who gets in trouble at one department and then quits before termination or before the disciplinary hearing, and then goes to another department. Now it mandates that every hearing department go to the other department where they come from. Mata said so that when the hiring department should know the type of officer that they are hiring or potentially hiring, it regulates the statewide, so it helps eliminate that type of bad apple. Wilson prosecuted police officers as a Dallas County assistant district attorney and recently was special prosecutor in a case involving a Fort Worth officer. This legislation was long overdue. I was glad to see the governor finally signing this into law. He said Mata said that the new legislation should be welcomed by law enforcement across Texas. It was collective work from law enforcement administrations, police organizations, association with legislation to do the right type of legislation to correct big problems that are within policing, Mata said. Now, that is very good. I'm glad that they're finally going to get down to the bad apples of police. Okay. Now, let's see if we can find any more. Okay. Now, this has to do with the infrastructure talks by Senator Joe Manchin. Okay. Now, on the Hill, it says Senator Joe Manchin warned on Tuesday that he wants both a bipartisan infrastructure bill and separate Democratic only and a separate Democratic only bill to be fully paid for. I think everything should be paid for. We put enough free money out, Manchin told reporters. Manchin's demand, if he sticks to it, could create real problems in the Democratic negotiations. The party, in a matter of weeks, is seeking to exercise a complicated legislative goal of winning Senate approval of both a bipartisan infrastructure measure opposed by many progressives and budget resolution that will tee up a larger Democratic bill with the spending priorities. The later bill will not win any GOP support. It will need to pass with just Democratic votes. Including Manchin's. A group of 22 senators, including Manchin, agreed to a framework with a bipartisan infrastructure deal that would spend $1.2 trillion over 8 years. But there are concerns among Republicans that a bill isn't fully paid for, threatening GOP support for it. Republicans negotiators in the group have warned that the Congressional Budget Officer, CBO, could lowball the amount revenue the proposal will raise. I know that there are some things that we're relying on as pay-fors that will probably not receive a CBO score, but nonetheless, our real Senator Mitt Romney, a Republican out of Utah, told reporters, my tongue is twisted. Meanwhile, the Democrats are trying to agree to a price tag for the larger bill. In order to pass a reclamation bill, Democrats will have to total unanimity from all 50 of their members for a budget resolution, which would include the top line figure and instructions for the Democratic only bill. The subsequent infrastructure bill itself, the measures under Senate rules cannot be filibustered, meaning the GOP can't block it. Democrats have yet to agree on the top line figure. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, Democrat New York, he's out of New York, which we all know, met with Democrats on the Senate Budget Committee on Monday night, but didn't get an agreement. They'll meet again on Tuesday night, which is tonight. Senator Budget Committee Chairman Bernie Sanders, he's out of Vermont, has thrown out $6 trillion, paying for roughly half as where he would like to go on the Democratic only bill. Senator Mark Warner, he's a Democratic out of Virginia, a member of the panel, has suggested he's closer to a roughly $4 trillion. Manchin has acknowledged that a Democratic only bill is inevitable, but hasn't committed to a specific top line figure. He warned through, though he doesn't want to go as high as Sanders. I want to make sure we pay for it. I do not want to add more debt on it. So if that's $1 trillion or $1.5 trillion or $2 trillion, whatever it comes out to be over a 10-year period, that's what I would be voting for, Manchin told ABC News last month. Now, what is y'all's opinion over that? I'm curious to know. Okay. Now, I do not know how true this is, but let me see. Okay. Now, here is one that just came out an hour ago over Fox News. I do not know how true Fox News is, but let's read what this one say. And I'm sorry about Bella. Okay. Critic calls Democrats maskless plain photo as they flee Texas to block GOP voting bill. Democratic Texas state legislators were slammed on social media for a photo. Let's hear what he says instead. This is, we all know him.
If you're trying to lose belly
This
fat,
is an ad.
stop doing cardio. This sounds backwards, right? Well, believe it or not, it's actually true.
Cardio actually burns calories.
Okay. I do not know if you can see him.
Meantime, these Texas Democrats about to hold a news conference in Washington, D.C. There's the alert after they fled their state on a private plane or two, trying to stop a Republican effort to strengthen election laws. It took a lot of selfies, Dana, along the way. Here to talk about it, Texas Senator Ted Cruz. Senator, how you doing? And good morning to you, sir. Got a lot to get through. We'll see how much we can get through in the next couple of minutes here. Governor Abbott said last night on local TV in Texas, he said, I will call a special session after special session until election of next year. All right, I don't know if that's the fate here, but how does this end, do you think, with lawmakers leaving the state?
Well, I think it's going to end with the Texas legislature taking up and passing election integrity legislation. What you're seeing the Democrats do here, it is a political stunt. And, I will say it's ironic, as they were getting on their private jet to fly to Washington, D.C., they almost surely had to show identification to get on that jet. And yet they're doing this in a fit because they don't want mail-in ballots to be verified. They don't want the signatures to be verified. They don't want basic integrity steps to be strengthened in the state of Texas. This is, at the end of the day, politics, and they need to get back to doing their jobs. And one way or the other, they will. One of the things, it's interesting, Bill, one of the very first assignments I ever had back 17 years ago, when I was newly appointed as the Solicitor General of Texas, one of the first questions I ever got is the Speaker of the House of the legislature. The legislature was redistricting then, and the Democrats did the same thing. They fled. That time they fled for Ardmore, Oklahoma, the House members, and then shortly thereafter for Albuquerque, New Mexico. And the Speaker of the House asked the Attorney General, who was then Greg Abbott, my boss, he said, hey, do I have the authority to arrest fleeing legislatures, these Democrats that have left to bring quorum? And Abbott, in turn, asked me. I did the research. It turns out the answer is yes. Under the Texas Constitution, there's a provision that explicitly gives the Speaker the authority to arrest fleeing House members. That provision is copied word for word from the U.S. Constitution. And so this stunt is going to fail. They're going to come back. There's going to be a quorum. And I believe the legislature is going to do its job and protect the integrity of elections. Ensure people can vote, but also ensure that we don't have fraud, we don't have people casting illegal votes.
All fascinating, so we'll keep an eye on that. Of course, somebody had to pay for the private jets. Interesting to see who that would be. And also, they did fundraising appeals last night, which might give you a clue as to the other reason that this is happening. In the meantime, can I take you to Cuba and tell us a little bit about your thoughts there? I do want to get your reaction to Senator Bernie Sanders. He was responding to our own Peter Doocy on his past support of Cuban policies. Watch.
Last year during the campaign, you said that it's unfair to simply say everything is bad in Cuba. Do you still share that sentiment now that the people there seem to be?
Well, I support throughout Latin America and in Cuba and every place else the right of people to protest for a decent economy and for political freedom.
Senator?
Well, it's interesting that Bernie says he supports the right of people to protest. You know who doesn't support that right? the Cuban communist dictatorship that Bernie also supports. Right now, the Cuban thugs are out there arresting protesters. They're throwing them in jail. They're clubbing them. They're beating them. And this is not new. For decades, the communist dictatorship in Cuba has committed murder, has committed torture, has committed incredible atrocities. And Dana, as you know, for me, this is not just a theoretical matter. My father was imprisoned and tortured by Batista, Castro's predecessor. My aunt, Lythia Sonia, was imprisoned and tortured by Castro. So my family, like so many millions of other Cuban families, have seen the brutal oppression of communism firsthand. And I got to say, watching these images, watching Cuban people in the streets risking their lives. When you stand up and protest, it's one thing to wave a flag here in the U.S. where you're not risking your life. There, they are literally risking imprisonment and death. And the American people stand with the people of Cuba. And I got to say, the Biden administration has been terrible on this. You know, they put out a statement saying this shows their right to peaceful assembly. No, it shows a communist dictatorship trying to silence their speech. And the Biden administration claims these protests are about COVID. They just want some more COVID shots. No, these protests, they are yelling libertad. They are yelling freedom in the streets. They're yelling down with the dictatorship, and they're waving American flags. What a beautiful symbol of freedom the American flag is across the globe. And yet Joe Biden and Kamala Harris can't seem to figure out why that freedom is important and why those people are standing up and risking their lives.
Well, you're exactly right about the bravery in more than 40 cities throughout the country. I don't think we've seen it in more than 60 years at this level. Final topic. Got to run here. You won Title 42, which deals with immigration on the southern border, that if you have COVID, you cannot come into the country. Is that going to lapse or not, sir?
Well, we're hearing concerning reports that the Biden administration intends to end enforcement under Title 42. Title 42 is the legal authority that allows you with illegal immigrants when they come to expel them and expel them quickly because of the pandemic. And then the Biden administration is making noise. They want to end that. I've introduced legislation this week to maintain the protections of Title 42. Listen, there's still a global pandemic. Many Americans have gotten vaccinated. I've gotten vaccinated. But a lot of the people coming here illegally, they haven't. And as we see new variants of this disease, we've seen the disaster of Joe Biden's open border policy. It is putting a huge cost on my home state of Texas. And now these guys want to make it worse and release essentially everybody who comes. Title 42 has been having effect with regards to single young men who may be COVID positive. And if the Biden administration releases them as well, it would be putting politics ahead of public safety and public health. I think that'd be a serious mistake.
See where it goes. Senator, thank you. Please come back. Ted Cruz, thanks.
And what is y'all's opinion on that? I'm interested to know. Isn't that something? And I was in Texas when our lights and water got shut off. And let's hear what they have to say about this. Okay, let's see if I guess this one I have to read. In Austin, Texas, Electricity Reliability Council of Texas, known as the ERCOT, released its roadmap to improving grid reliability Tuesday to address operational improvements to the Texas power grid. ERCOT, or however you say it, delivered to plan to Governor Abbott, members of the Texas Legislature, the Public Utility Commission. It is a 60-item roadmap that will be updated regularly throughout 2021, according to a press release. Change is required for ERCOT to continue to I cannot pronounce that, serve the millions of customers, businesses, and that depend on us, ERCOT, in turn. President and CEO Brad Jones said in the press release, we have extensively reviewed our process to better serve Texans and will continue to work very closely with the PUC to ensure we're aligned in these efforts. These changes will benefit to all Texans and support and economic growth for the state of Texas. And The roadmap includes bringing more generations online to address supply and demand and purchasing more reserve power. For days with uncertain weather, the ERCOT will also require CEOs to submit a letter certifying their companies have completed weatherization's preparations twice a year, proposing a new rule requiring generations to provide more frequent operational updates, assessing the need for on-site fuel supplies for some generators starting to perform unannounced testings and addressing transmission constraints in the Rio Grande Valley are also a part of the roadmap as well. According to the press release, the roadmap puts a clear focus on protecting customers while also ensuring that Texas maintain a free market incentives to bring a new generation to the state. PUC chairman and ERCOT board member Peter Lake said Texans deserve a more reliable grid, and we're aggressively moving to make that a reality. Abbott signed 2 bills to reform ERCOT and weatherize the Texas power grid in June. On July 6th, he wrote a letter to the PUC asking them to take immediate action to improve electric reliability, I can't pronounce that word, across the state. The full roadmap is available on ERCOT's website. And I hope that it does not happen again, because that is not right. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see what Abbott is going to do. There's another one here I see just happened. Advertisement. Looks like this one is a speech. So we're going to listen to it. We just listened to Ted Cruz, but this one here is showing an ad. Oh, I'll just show y'all what it says, if y'all can see it. Hopefully y'all can see it. If y'all can see it, let me know. What do y'all think of everything that is going on? Everything's just crazy in the world here lately. It's just crazy, crazy. That's just what Ted Cruz was talking about, what Greg Abbott is doing. Okay, let me see if I could come up with any other news for y'all. I don't have any other news right now. I want to get anybody's hopes up on anything. Let me see. I don't see any stimulus news. Oh, wait. Yes, I do. I found something. No, that was yesterday. Y'all probably heard that about yesterday. Okay, let me see. This 6 hours ago. No, nothing. No news on any stimulus news at this time, and I'm not going to bring anybody's hopes up. If I don't see any news on any stimulus, I'm not going to bring any hopes up to anybody, and I don't see any news on any deals that have been made, so I'm not going to be one of the ones that bring any fake news to anybody. I have not seen anybody in any Washington, D.C.'s courtroom, so I'm not going to be one of those news stimulus deal that sees anybody in there that's preaching the news in there. So I'm going to try to bring y'all the everyday news to y'all here on this channel. But I do have a business channel. If y'all want to also look me up over there, it's under Tambourine Combos. This one here is my stimulus news. And thank you for watching, whoever's watching me. And God bless you. God bless whoever watches the replay. And y'all have a wonderful and blessed day. God bless you. Bye-bye, y'all.